Do you remember when the agricultural strike in Colombia was so big there were no potatoes in your house?
Yeah, how could I forget? My potato salad wasn't the same.
Well, the same happened in the Great Depression.
What's the Great Depression?
The Great Depression was an event that happened in 1929 in the US that affected the world's economy.
I think I remember. It's the economical crisis that faced the US caused by the banks and the stock market. But how can we relate this to the agricultural strike in Colombia?
Let me start by telling you a story. Dean Bailey was an 82-year-old man that lived in the Great Plains of Lordstown. He flash lived the Great Depression, and he tells the story about how his neighbors that didn't have big farms as him did faced the lack of food and how he had to share his supplies for survival with his neighbors.
Oh my god, that's a lot worse than not eating my potato salad.
Yes, this happens because of the Dust Bowl, and it affected the daily life of the Great Plains.
Man, what's the Great Plains?
The Great Plains are the places of the countryside that the farmers used to live in. More than 65,000 people moved from the countryside to the cities.
And why did they move to the cities and did not stay on their house on the fields?
Their daily life changed because of the economic crisis and the Dust Bowl. The food production in their farms was not enough to feed their family and earn enough money.
So the Dust Bowl was one of the greatest ecological disasters in the US during the 20th century. It was a massive drought that during the 1930s affected all the way to the Gulf of Mexico to over Canada.
You're right, and this affected the lives of the farmers because as the drought appeared, the lack of food and the individual sustain of the farms became a nightmare. People used to share the basic needs to survive, and the people used to live only by their crops and what they produced.
So we could say that the immigration from the Great Plains caused the decrease of food production, which increased the poverty in the big cities?
Completely.
Which are the main factors that cause this?
I think the first one is the reasons why the people move out of the countryside, and the other one might be the transition from the countryside to the cities and how life changed.
The reason to move out of the countryside were the lack of resources and the massive drought that brought the Dust Bowl. Because of this, more than 1,000 families could now sustain their farms and move to the cities to obviously find jobs. In the 1930s, farmers from the Midwestern Dust Bowl states, especially Oklahoma and Arkansas, began to move to California. 250 arrived by 1940, including a third of those who moved into the San Joaquin Valley, which have a population of 540,000 people during the 1930s, and some 2 million people left the Great Plains states.
But the transitions wasn't easy. There were many repercussions for the society and when the country people entered to the cities.
Yes, possibly. It could range from economical aspects to even discrimination from the social classes.
Exactly. One of the main repercussions was the starvation from the poor people of the city and the country people that have just arrived. This is because there were no people in the Great Plains to produce food, and the Dust Bowl didn't allow the big companies to produce or transport the food to the big cities.
I agree. Also, the discrimination from the high classes against the poor people, oh my god, cast a division in the cities. One side was filled with big, spacious and luxury houses, with the other part with the small and ugly apartments that barely fitted for the families of the country, and the unemployment rate that passed from 1 million people from 1930 to 12 million people without a job by the 1940s.
I agree. Therefore, the migration of the country people to the big cities was not a big solution but the entry of another great problem. The lack of food in the country was going to be present in the cities as the big cities depend completely on the work of the country people.
Oh, this could also be seen in some audiovisual works such as Modern Times from Charlie Chaplin, Of Mice and Men from Gary Sinise, or How to Kill a Mockingbird from Robert Mulligan, and in different literary products such as To Kill a Mockingbird of Harper Lee.
So we conclude that the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl were the two main factors that had an impact on agriculture of the US and of course the economy. This did not only affect the daily life but also forced them to move out of their houses.
Also, we need to consider that the situation in the Great Plains after the Great Depression can possibly relate to the displacement of the peasants in the field of Colombia had suffered during the last 50 years as they were forced to move to the big cities looking for better opportunities and to improve their life quality.
Yes, and the same happened with the people that suffered the Dust Bowl and moved to the big cities because their crops were completely ruined and they had no food to eat. Therefore, there is a relation of what happened in the Great Plains and what happened in our country.
That's why we think the agricultural issues after the Great Depression were only the most influential against society, especially the poor.